What's up, everybody? It's your boy Eddie 1000. Thank you for watching. Today is February 28th, 2024. Woo! So, let's see. Today, I want to talk about David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, versus Canelo Alverez. And just a little backstory here. Canelo, which was previously with DAZN and a free agent basically, he went over to the PBC to agree to a 3-fight deal. Now, us casuals, I'm a casual, I'm not a boxing historian, or I'm not the most knowledgeable person about the history of boxing, okay? But us casuals, many of us thought that Canelo was signing over or coming over to the PBC to eventually fight David Benavidez. And David Benavidez is undefeated. His last couple of fights consist of beating Demetrius Andrade, beating Caleb Plant, among others. Okay? We thought that Canelo was coming over to the PBC because David Benavidez is signed with the PBC. We thought that Canelo was going to include him, or Al Heyman, who oversees the PBC, was going to get Canelo to agree to at least one fight to David Benavidez. That's what many of us casuals thought or hoped. Maybe we were smoking on that opium. But that's what most of us thought. And Canelo's first fight was with one of the Charlo brothers. I always get them mixed up. I think it was Mel, the youngest of the Charlos. Okay? I do this thing where Maul, the A is first, which means that's the oldest, and A comes before E, and E is Jamel, and Jamel is the youngest, and Jamel came up from 154 pounds to 168 pounds to fight Canelo at 168. Now, Mel got his ass beat. It wasn't even really close, all right? Mel did survive all 12 rounds. He did get knocked down once, but it wasn't even a close fight. So we thought that the second fight was going to be hopefully David Benavidez, because at the time David Benavidez was beating Boo Boo Andre, or shortly after Canelo beat Mel, David Benavidez beat Boo Boo Demetrius Andre. It wasn't even a close fight. And I don't know why there were channels out there, all hyped up on the Boo Boo train. I was never sold on Boo Boo. I have nothing against Boo Boo, but I watched his fights. I was never sold on Boo Boo. And David Benavidez beat the brakes off Boo Boo. And David Benavidez beat the brakes off. No, he didn't. Well, he beat the brakes off. He beat Caleb Plant, which is a common fighter between Canelo Alverez and David Benavidez, because they both fought Caleb Plant. Canelo knocked out Caleb Plant. David Benavidez didn't knock out Caleb Plant. Okay, so this brings me to the recent news, is that basically Canelo only fought one fight of his 3-fight deal. He only fought one fight of his 3-fight deal. Now, the particulars, I'm not going to spend too much time with the particulars. Let's just say that the money wasn't right with Canelo, and or the fights weren't right with Canelo. Also, I'd like to mention that during this whole little contract that was originally signed with Showtime went out of business, the boxing business. So now PBC and Showtime are no longer together. And PBC is now with Amazon Prime. So we have a lot of moving parts here. And we don't know what Canelo is going to do. He walked away from the PBC. He walked away from his contract. Well, the contract was breached some kind of way. Not sure how the contract may have been breached, because I did not actually see the contract. So Canelo walked away. They parted ways. PBC and Canelo parted ways. Excuse me. So now we're basically back to square one. Back to square one with no David Benavidez versus Canelo fight, right? Canelo says he's going to explore his options. Well, he didn't say that. Again, we're under the belief that Canelo is going to explore other options, maybe fighting Edgar Berlanga, who came out, he's still kind of new. And no, I don't want to say new in boxing per se. He doesn't have a lot of experience. I'd say it like that. I think he has like 14 fights, 12, 14, 15 fights maybe. And the reason why it's so much hype around Edgar Berlanga is because he got like 10 first round knockouts for his first 10 fights. All right. So, I mean, that's good in a way, but when you're facing somebody like Canelo, you need to have some experience. You need to have more than one trick to beat Canelo, because Canelo has seen it all. Canelo has over 50 fights. Canelo's been in there with the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Austin Trout, Amir Khan, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, to name a few. All right, he's been around the block. All right, so Edgar Berlanga is one possibility for Canelo. Also, Jaime Munguia is another possibility for Canelo. I wouldn't be mad at that fight. I would not be mad at that fight. Not the fight I wanted, but I wouldn't be mad. I would be mad at the Edgar Berlanga fight. I'd be mad. Not mad, not like ruin my day mad. Not mad like, I just lost my job mad. Or I wouldn't be that mad. It's just that it's just not a fight that I was not crying to see. It's not a fight that that I would be highly anticipating. But Jaime Munguia, I like that fight. I like that fight, honestly. I like that fight. If we can't get Benavidez, I like Canelo versus Jaime Munguia. All right, because that is going to be fireworks, I think. Because Canelo's not going to back up. Jaime Munguia damn sure ain't going to back up. So I like to see that fight, honestly. To be straight with you. But the purpose of this video is to bring up the point that David Benavidez, for his name being the Mexican Monster, he hasn't sought out Canelo. He hasn't chased Canelo. Now, don't get me wrong. He's verbally stated that he wanted to fight Canelo, and his actions, I believe he wants to fight Canelo, but sometimes you have to make some sacrifices, okay? Why do I say that? Because Canelo, he's been with Golden Boy, right? He went to the Zone, right, to get the fights he wanted. He went to PBC to get those fights. What has David Benavidez done? Now, again, we can all point fingers. We're all pointing fingers at Canelo, right? Well, I zoom out and I get the bigger picture. All right. Canelo bounced from Golden Boy Promotions, the Zone Promotions, the PBC Promotions to get the fights that he wanted. What has David Benavidez done to get the fights that he wanted? Has he jumped around? Has he chased anybody like a monster does? Just asking. And I like David Benavidez. That's like my favorite fighter. Like, he doesn't back down. He does not back down. But I do call a spade a spade. All right? And again, I think that he wants to fight Canelo. But my point is, has he done what it takes to get that fight? Because from the outside, it looks like he's just been waiting for Canelo to come to him. Nah, it don't work like that, big dog. You gotta go get Canelo. You just can't wait for your prize to come to you. You have to go chase greatness. You're about to fight. You know, and one of the things I like about David Benavidez is that he wants to fight Canelo, but at the same time, he's like, hey, if I don't get the fight, you know, so be it. I'm gonna create my own legacy, and that's good. That's good. I am glad that David Benavidez is scheduling a fight. Right? I don't want David Benavidez to be sitting around like like some other big names and only fight once or twice a year. I'm glad that David Benavidez wants to create his own lane. But my point is, if he wants to fight Canelo, he needs to go and get Canelo. You can't stay at home and be comfortable with the PBC if you want to fight Canelo. And it's okay if you don't want to put in that extra effort for that fight. It's okay. Well, not really. You know, I want to see you go and get it. I think Canelo's a great fighter. I think David Benavidez is a great fighter. But sometimes you need to make sacrifices, especially when what somebody else has, what you want, you have to go out there and get it. You can't wait for them to bring it to you on a silver platter. Even Terrence Crawford, he wanted to fight Spence, right? He had to go get a belt. Then he had to leave ESPN and join PBC to get that fight. Because Spence wasn't crossing the street to go sign with ESPN. Spence was going to stay with the PBC. And if it wasn't for Terrence Crawford, I don't think we would have gotten that fight. If Terrence Crawford did not put in that extra effort, if Terrence Crawford did not make that sacrifice, we wouldn't have gotten the Spence Crawford fight at all. We wouldn't have gotten it. Because Errol Spence was not leaving PBC. Period. He was not. So I want to thank Terrence Crawford for doing what he did so we could actually see the fight instead of just fantasizing about the fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Now I know Errol Spence took some sacrifices too. I'm not discounting that at all. But in the big grand scheme of things, Errol Spence was not going to leave PBC at all. And if Terrence Crawford had that same attitude as Errol Spence and for whatever reason said that he wasn't going to leave Top Rank, then we wouldn't have gotten the fight. We wouldn't have gotten it. Terrence Crawford made some sacrifices to get the Errol Spence fight, and David Benavidez needs to make a sacrifice to get the Canelo fight. Canelo's not going to come to him. I don't think Canelo is ducking David Benavidez. I don't think Canelo's ducking David Benavidez. Canelo is on his own lane. I think if David Benavidez went to the zone and chased after Canelo instead of just sitting there with the PVC twirling his motherfucking thumbs, and again, David Benavidez is one of my favorite fighters. I think Canelo would fight David Benavidez on Canelo's terms. But the problem is, just like Spence would not leave PBC, and I don't think David Benavidez is going to leave PBC. If he doesn't leave PBC to try to get that Canelo fight, I don't think he should be called the Monster. I don't think he should be called the Mexican Monster. Because the Monster chases. The Monster chases. The Monster don't wait to get chased. And right now, it seems like the Monster is waiting to get chased by Canelo. Nah. If David Benavidez wants the Canelo fight, you got to go out and get Canelo. You got to leave from under that comfy umbrella. You need to go out in the rain and get wet. You got to move. If hoes not knocking at your door, you need to go out in the streets and get these hoes. Now again, I thought Canelo was knocking at your door. I thought we were going to get the Canelo David Benavidez fight. But Canelo said, nah. Nah. I'm not coming to you, David Benavidez. You need to come to me. Canelo's the big dog here. Now again, I want to watch the fight, the Canelo and David Benavidez fight, just like the next man. But what sacrifices has David Benavidez made to go and get Canelo? I will give you this one. He did fight Caleb Plant, which was a step in the right direction. He did fight Boo Boo Andrade, somebody Canelo did not want to fight either. And I know David Benavidez wanted to fight the Charlo brothers. Right? David Benavidez want all the smoke. That's why he one of my favorite fighters. He want that smoke. But sometimes you got to take the extra step. You got to take the extra step. Canelo showed you what to do. Canelo showed you. You need to come and get it. Canelo's not going to come to you. That would be not Canelo-esque. You want Canelo? You go chase Canelo. You got to fight him on his terms. And that's what I want to see David do. So that was this video. Please leave your comments below. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, if you agree, disagree. Thank you for watching. I'm out.